All right, let's bring in Craig Button today. It's a big week. It's draft week, obviously. Free agency just around the corner. Good morning, Mr. Button. How are you, sir?
Good. You know Steve Dryden, don't you, Dustin?
I'm familiar. I've never met him, but I've exchanged some messages in the past.
Okay, so to this day, Steve uses a pencil, and he had one of those electric pencil sharpeners, and he had like a little bowl or pencil holder, and he probably had maybe 8 or 9 pencils in there. And he was always sharpening the pencil and using a pencil and erasing and everything. So Ray Ferraro, he had an office and there was glass around. So Ray Ferraro unplugged the pencil sharpener, and then he broke off every single one of those of the tips of the pencil, and then he decided he was going to watch Steve. So Steve was doing it right. He goes, "Oh, they're not working." So he goes to grab a pencil from the thing, and Ray gathered up about 4 or 5 people to watch Steve and to torment him with the pencil sharpener. So. Don't let anybody play tricks on you with the new pencil sharpener at the new office, Dustin.
I can't remember the last time
it's a trick that people have used.
Yeah, I can't believe. When was the last time you used a pencil?
I have one at home.
Do you have one at home?
It's in a coffee mug of like pens and stuff. So
yeah,
I'll grab it.
Do you use it for anything, or is it just
writing notes and stuff to my wife?
I guess. But then what if she erased them and she accuses you of not writing?
No. There's never been that type of thing. But I have a sharpener. It's a little plastic.
The little one. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, let's continue.
This was electric. This was electric, Eric. This is electric. Steve Dryden to this day uses a pencil.
He still does for everything.
He writes everything. Everything's pencil.
What a weird guy. Yeah, pens are just easier. All right. So we launched our segment earlier this morning. Offseason. What offseason? As we look into what's next here for the Edmonton Oilers. Outside of McDavid, what should be first priority here for the Oilers in your mind, Craig?
I really think that you got to find a way to improve the depth of the forward group.
Okay.
I believe. Listen. I know others will say goaltending. I do believe the goaltending tandem has to change, and if you can upgrade Stuart Skinner, that's great. If you can't, give him some help. I'm not here to knock on Calvin Pickard or anything, but I think that area of the team has to improve. I don't think Stuart Skinner needs more help if he's going to be your goaltender. And if you can upgrade him, well, then Calvin Pickard's a really good, capable backup. But I think that I'll leave the goaltending there. I think the forward depth has to improve. It's fascinating to me, and I don't know if we've talked about this previously. I believe that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl overperformed. I think they overperform so much of the time with what they do for this team. And they reach a point, back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, and they look fatigued by the end of it. I think a big part of that is because they don't have as much depth in the forward group as they need to get to the promised land. And so more speed, a little more size, and the bottom 2 lines in the playoffs gave them nothing. I shouldn't say that, in the final gave them nothing. In the final they gave them nothing. And ultimately, that's where they got to get to. So that's where I would be looking to really try to improve the team. And I think there's lots of different ways to do that. And I think there's opportunities to explore that you can improve in that area and help McDavid and Draisaitl.
I'm glad you brought up the forward thing because, you're seeing different reports and stuff, over the last week or so and leading up into the next week of, they're close on a deal with Frederick. I've seen some reports that they want to bring Kapanen back. I've seen some reports that they're talking with both Brown and Corey Perry. And then, but that's like the whole group sort of just kind of re-racking here. So if you want to improve your forward depth, Craig, can you do that in just 1 or 2 guys? Or does it have to be like 3 or 4 new faces in that forward group?
Well, why don't we take a step back and look what they didn't do last year and that really hurt them? Trade Ryan McLeod, don't re-sign Fogle, and don't match the offer sheet on Dylan Holloway. So in reverse, they hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And so now you gotta turn that around and try to help yourself. So yeah, I think they can. Is it easy? No. But being a Stanley Cup winner isn't easy. Being a Stanley Cup contender, I don't want to hear how hard it is. It's your job. Go and do it. The Edmonton Oilers did not have a good summer last year. It was not a good summer. And the fact of the matter is that 97 and 29 overperformed for this team. They're brilliant what they're able to do. They need help. And that's the job of the manager. They didn't bring Kapanen back. Sorry, not helping you. Bring in, I want Corey Perry, but Corey Perry had to play up. Kapanen was on your second line. Give me a break. Like, really? You had Paul Colson playing on your second line. Do they hate Leon Draisaitl?
Craig, I just wanted to get your thoughts here on Evan Bouchard and whether or not you think Bridge is the likely destination or something else regarding his deal.
I'm going to tell you, it's not funny because it happened and it's true. In the 1990 year, 1989-89 season, I was in Minnesota. Our manager, Jack Ferrero, we made a trade with the Washington Capitals for Larry Murphy and Mike Gartner. I knew Larry Murphy, and my dad had been in Washington, and my brother was an assistant coach there, and I knew Larry. So Bob Clark became our manager, and that year in training camp in 1990, Bob Clark had become the manager, new ownership, and Larry Murphy says to me, he goes, "I'm going to get traded." I'm going, "What? You're going to get traded?" He goes, yeah. He goes, "Bob Clark doesn't like me." And I'm thinking, like, what do you mean Bob Clark doesn't like you? And I didn't say that to him. I'm just in my head. Well, in November, we traded Larry Murphy. And I'm going to say it was approximately 3 weeks later, Eric, maybe 4 weeks later. We're on a phone call, and we're looking for a replacement for Larry Murphy. And, we're going through all these players. We're going through this player. Well, he's not that good, skilled. Well, he's not that hard. Well, our chief scout at the time, Dennis Patterson, finally said, he goes, we traded a pretty good player 3 weeks ago. Maybe he would have helped us. The call ended really quickly. Do you know when we replaced Larry Murphy? When we traded for Sergei Zubov in 1996.
Took a while.
Get him signed. Just get him signed long term. There are not players like Evan Bouchard in the National Hockey League. Is he a $10 million player? Like all numbers indicate he's worth $10 million. So I don't know if you can get him cheaper. I don't know if he wants to play for you. I just know this. You'll be yearning and you'll be kicking yourself. You'll be yearning for a player like Evan Bouchard and kicking yourself if you don't have him. Get it done. Make him an Oiler for life. He's young. He's damn good. So sick and tired of hearing all the knocks on Evan Bouchard. Tell me who's a perfect player. Perfect player. There's no perfect players. Evan Bouchard helps you win a hell of a lot more than other players.
I totally got distracted by looking up the return for Larry Murphy. Chris Dahlquist and Jim Johnson. It didn't pan out?
Well, we went to the Stanley Cup final that year against Pittsburgh, who beat us with Larry Murphy. We were lucky to get to the Stanley Cup final. I got to tell you, Brian Bellows, who was always funny, Brian Bellows said that a month after we had traded Larry Murphy, sitting around one day, Bellows says, goes, we used to get the pass on our sticks. Now we get it off our asses.
Craig Button with us on the show this morning. Hey, just on the goaltending thing, there's a lot of people asking us about, should they trade for Thatcher Demko? So Craig, because Vancouver's got Shelovs, who just was the Calder Cup MVP. They already gave Lankinen a deal. Demko obviously has some injury issues. They're not going to want Skinner back. I don't know how the Oilers would even remotely afford it anyway. But your thoughts on Demko being a possible guy that they could pursue if they wanted?
So on talent, Thatcher Demko is a top-notch goaltender. On dependability, reliability, whoa, yeah. I'd be really worried. Now, with 1 year left on his contract, maybe it's worth taking a run. You bring in Thatcher Demko. He's going to want to, get his game to a high level with free agency pending, and you might get 1 good year, but 1 good year is what you need right now for the Edmonton Oilers. I wouldn't sign Thatcher Demko long term if I traded for him, but I'd be interested. I mean, what's this? He's $5 million, I believe. Is he $5 million? I think he's right around $5 million. So I'd be very interested in Thatcher Demko. But if I'm getting him, I'm making it very clear that you're coming in here, and we'll evaluate over the year. I'm not extending Thatcher Demko.
Yeah, he's
not until he shows me he can be dependable and reliable.
Yeah, and then even
goaltenders need to be available.
he's right.
Why did they sign Lankinen? They signed Lankinen because Thatcher Demko is not available.
Yeah, and they signed Lankinen for the next 5 years. So they know what they know. And then they have Shilovs, obviously, who we've already seen some flashes from. Craig, it is draft week. When we look at this draft class, the Oilers don't pick till the third round and then not again till the 6th or 7th. So they're kind of a non-factor as far as the draft goes. But I was looking at different TSN rankings and stuff. I saw Mackenzie basically said it's 2 guys at the top and then it sort of trickles down a little bit after that. How do you expect this top 10 to play out? I mean, is there going to be any surprises?
I don't think so. I mean, it all depends what a surprise is. I'm going to go 2 places here. First, I'll kind of give the outline of the draft. It's lots of centers. Last year in the draft, everybody knew there was 6 really good defensemen in the draft, and they went in the first 12 picks. There was no question who the 6 were. They didn't know what order they were going to go. I mean, Sam Dickinson goes 11, Zebullion goes 12, but everybody felt that the 6 defensemen were going to go in that range. I think it's the same thing with the centers. I don't know who the centers are. I don't know. I know who the centers are. I don't know what order they're going to go. I mean, you have some really good ones. You have Michael Misha, you have Frondell, you have Hagens, you have O'Brien, a lot of really good centers, and I don't know what order they'll go into. When you talk about surprises, and I know I keep hearing about Beckett Seneca being a surprise last year, but if you break it down, and the reason I bring up the 6 defensemen is Celebrini was going 1, and then the 6 defensemen were going in the next group. Well, once Anaheim decided they weren't taking a defenseman, well, now they had it narrowed down to a forward, and the forwards were Lidstrom, Iginla, Demidov, and Beckett Seneca. Beckett Seneca was going in the top 10. So they took him at 3, and people go, oh, wow, that was a surprise. Not when you look at it from the Anaheim Ducks lens, where they're taking a forward. So that's what they did. Do I think somebody that you think might go 9 goes 3 or 4? Yeah, I could see that. Brady Martin is a player that's a heck of a competitor, really good player. I mean, he could be the guy that could end up in the top 5 for sure. I'm doing a mock draft today, and I'll give you a little preview. I'm gonna put Brady Martin going forward to the Utah Mammoth.
Okay, I like this. When will this draft be available? When is your Sports Center tonight?
9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, 11:30 Eastern,
okay,
and 8:30 in the Pacific Time Zone on TSN 1, 4, and 5.
Look at that.
Where do you have Frondell going? I got to know because I know you like him. And
Chicago.
like him Chicago, yeah.
Chicago. Yeah, you remember Dustin up in Camrose? He's a good player. I mean,
he's a great player.
He really is. And then he's good.
I was going to say the kid that, because we did a link up, Banach. How far does that little bastard slide down the draft?
I think somebody takes him in the 2nd round.
Think so? Yeah,
I really do. Yeah, I do. He's such a good player, and he's cagey and he's smart. And the only thing he lacks is height. But he continuously shows what a good player he was. You saw him at the Lincoln Gretzky and at the U18 in Dallas in April. He was good there too. He joined the team after getting eliminated in the USHL. But he is a good player.
Great stuff.
Somebody's going to get a steal. Maybe the Oilers at 83 get Adam Banach.
There we go. Okay, somebody to target. Good stuff, Craig. We'll chat again soon, man.
Thanks.